Although this video it might make couple of views, which one is gonna be me with another account and the second one my dog, I still love this series on my channel because it's just me being publicly a lazy YouTuber. So I'm really struggling to find the time to recording videos. So I decided to record it while I'm doing something else uh, that I enjoy the most, uh, which is read. And we're gonna read and analyze a super successful blog post that I love, blog that I love, and his blog post, and trying to figure out what we can extract from it in order to become a better writer. Um, so yeah, stay with me till the end. Drop a comment if you to let me know what you think about it and what is another blog post that I should analyze. And yeah, just stay with me. We hang out for a while. The blog post in question is more to that. The more to that blog post, The Riddle of Boredom, is an illustrated beautiful blog that I recommend you to read, to see, and to check it out. And yeah, it's my favorite. I talk about it many times on the channel, so I won't repeat myself. And let's jump right into it. So first of all, I'm kind of uh, sickish, so I hope to don't need to blow my nose. But and second, I'm not native linguist, uh, a native English speaker, so you might forgive me. Please forgive me if I made some mistakes or if I don't know some words and I'm gonna slow down. But forgive me. Okay, I choose the small reflection, which is a small blog post to don't stay here for hours, which is named the riddle of boredom. So let's jump in. What is boredom? That might seem like a silly question to ask, but that's only because we have familiarized ourselves with this presence. If an alien asks you to define it, how would you explain it? Perhaps one way to define it, it is the absence of mental stimulation. If there is no external stimulus provoking an internal response, then there is no movement in mind or body, and boredom ensues. With this definition, idleness and boredom appear to be two peas in a sleepy pod. But this framing breaks down when you consider something like meditation. Meditation assumes some level of stillness to have any real efficiency, so cultivating a climate of idleness is important. The reason why we seek out a quiet space or set aside time each day for the practice is because we want to set the condition required for an undistracted mind. But for a meditator, this lack of stimuli wouldn't be interpreted as boredom. There may be a feeling of nothingness, but this void of sensation wouldn't translate into the condition of being bored. In fact, it might be the opposite. It could be quite exhilarating to sit inside it with no real expectation, observing the pattern of your thoughts as they terminate in empty space. Idleness doesn't lead to boredom as long as that idleness is desired. Sitting alone and doing nothing might look really boring to an outsider, but for the person that finds meaning in the activity, it is anything but young-inducing. Contrary to popular beliefs, boredom doesn't have much to do with being idle. Instead, it has more to do with desire, and the inability to direct that desire towards anything meaningful. Take the classic example of you waiting in a checkout line at the grocery store. It looks like there will be a few minutes before you get to the register, and since there is nothing better to do, you take out your phone and start scrolling through social media. You don't find anything too compelling, so after a minute or two, you put your phone back in your pocket and wait until you say hi to the cashier. In that brief process, you can see how boredom manifests as a series of un undirected desires. While waiting in line, you feel discontent with your present state and long to change it. Desire emerges. However, you don't know where exactly to point your desire to, so direct it towards your shiny phone. But once you grab your phone, another desire appears, but this time in the form of finding something interesting. This is another undirected desire with no purpose, so boredom acts as the driving force behind your search. Arthur Schopenhauer once described boredom as a tame longing without any particular object. That does a good job framing this notion of an undirected desire. It's when you long for something better, without knowing that the something better might haven't been. As a result, you try to satisfy it with various distractions, but without any purposeful pursuit. The cycle of boredom continues. This is why skipping boredom through binge watching Netflix or scrolling through Twitter feels empty afterwards. Your engagement in those activities wasn't grounded in intention, but rather from a mindless whim to satisfy a sense of longing. And once they have exhausted your attention, you look to the next thing to alleviate your restlessness, which introduces boredom once again. The way we break this cycle is by directing our desires to something concrete. We discover a pursuit we find purposeful and set goals or system to create a sense of progress. Our desire now have somewhere to point to, and boredom no longer emerge because the mind is focused on its newfound path. The problem with this, however, is what happens once that desire is realized. Desire's greatest trick is in convincing us that we will be satisfied after we fulfill it. This is the deception that we reliably fall for over and over again. If I make X amount of dollar a year, I will be free. Once I found a punter, I can be happy. If I'm adored by certain people, I will feel validated. Directed desires give us a path to drive on, but once we reach the goalpost, a sense of aimlessness befalls us. We realize that the promised land is actually just a starting point for another journey, but oftentimes we are unsure of what the next destination is. In other words, we have yet another desire without direction, which means that boredom emerges once again. Excitement, boredom, time. Oh, I love it. I love it, illustration. In a way, boredom is inescapable. It acts as the impetus of the action, but after that action is complete, inevitably rears its head again. Avoiding it is largely a futile endeavor, and this is embedded deeply into the human condition. Perhaps a better way to internalize boredom is to accept it and to see it as something you have a relationship with. Trying to run away from it results in a desire for excitement, which paradoxically leads to more boredom because your threshold for excitement keeps increasing. Instead, if we acknowledge that even the best lives are punctuated with boredom, Then we will understand how this slowdown in attention can be interpreted as a welcome state of mind. Bertrand Russell writes, all great books contain boring portions, and all great lives have contained uninteresting stretches. A quiet life is a characteristic of great men, and their pleasures have not been of the sort that would look exciting to the outward eye. Funnily enough, the antidote to boredom is to actively seek it at various moments in your life. By giving yourself the space to do nothing, you chase looking outwards for novel experience and look inwards to uncover the meaning that can be found within the nonsense of your mind. I love it. I love it. I just read you all together because, I didn't want to bore you, but with breaking the piece down while I'm reading like last time. But let's analyzing a little bit. So the kicker, so the first sentence, the hooker, it was what is boredom? So a question. Interesting because this author never actually did it, and I took his course, and in his course he explained that the first sentence he should arouse like kind of two reaction to the reader, which is okay, go on, or how so? So what is boredom? Okay, go on. I don't know. It's weird. He never actually started with that question. It's interesting. Um, so this is the beginning. Um, he just starting to point out what's the problem with it, and he introduced just you know he pointed out that it's not that trivial to try to define boredom. Then he dropped a beautiful illustration to to make give a break to the reader, and is 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 this the why I introduce illustration in my articles as well. And then an analogy, super weird. Idleness and boredom appears to be two peas in a sleepy pot. Okay. Um, but this framing breaks down when you consider something like meditation. So you introduce another point of view. So for the meditation person, is actually something that is valuable than nothingness. Then so now no, he didn't put like any illustration for all this big body of work. Interesting. And he just put like one bold sentence. It has more to do with desire and the inability to direct the desire towards anything meaningful. He gives some practical example like the grocery store checkout line, and yeah, and they explain like while you're waiting, you feel disoriented with your present state, and then you check your phone and so on. As a Schopenhauer, so here he is dropping like a quote from some figure, like someone trustable, and to say to the reader, it's not just me. I'm validating. He's validating his point. Um, this is why escaping boredom through binge watching Netflix and scrolling through his Twitter feels empty afterwards. You engage in those activities that are grounded in intention, but that for a mind's whim to satisfy a sense of longing. Amazing. Another beautiful illustration, and then the conclusion, which no, sorry, it's not the conclusion. Um, the main point, which is desire's greatest trick, is to convince that us that when we will satisfy, we have to be fulfilled. So like chasing something, but actually is part of us. boredom, because then it will emerge once again after the excitement and the or either we keep moving the goalpost, or like then we drop the excitement, drop to boredom. Amazing. Another quote, and then the conclusion. I want to read the conclusion. Funnily enough, the antidote to boredom is to actively seek it at various moments in your life. By giving yourself the space to do nothing, you chase looking forward for novel exploration and look inward to uncover the meaning that can be found within the nuances of your mind. Amazing. Amazing. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know um, whatever. Just drop something in the chat. Say hi. How are you? And I love this kind of series. I will for sure continue because it's like a easy video for me to make. So I hope you enjoy it, and see you in the next one.